Welcome to the Eclipse demonstration. Eclipse is part of the iPro Enterprise, a purpose-built litigation management platform that includes 3 best-in-class integrated applications. By using the iPro Enterprise products together, iPro has created a seamless workflow that law firms and corporations can use to achieve the most efficient process from start to finish. The 3 products, Allegro, Eclipse, and eCapture, can be used individually as a standalone solution or together for a best-of-breed approach. Today we're going to be demonstrating the power of Eclipse by leveraging the Eclipse web application, the front-end reviewer interface. We're going to be working on our Globex Industries versus Atlantic Northern Energy case. This case has data promoted from our ECA application, Allegro, data that's responsive to the case. When you first log into Eclipse, you land on the Case Details dashboard. This page delivers key information in real time so that we can make staffing changes based on productivity and progress. For example, number of batches unassigned, batches in progress, batches complete. We can also change that to a document level and a picture of the case. How many documents are reviewed and how many documents are not reviewed in this case. On the right hand side, we have some additional documentation that we can share with the case team. Case documents includes documents that are containing information about the case team, like contact information and any sort of detailed information about the case. The case alerts is an opportunity for the team to broadcast information to the rest of the case team. For example, we have a production deadline for this case of this Friday at 5 o'clock. We also have some server maintenance that we need to do. This information will be broadcasted to the entire team. This is also a very secureable page, so any of this information can be locked down from reviewers. And of course, we have the case instructions. If there are any specific details about batching and review processes, instructions that are required can be posted here in any native format, PDFs, Word documents, whatever the reviewer end user applications are available to the end user. The layout of Eclipse is such that it looks very similar to Outlook. You have navigation here on the left hand side. You have content here in the middle to the right hand side. So today we're going to be working on the Globex Industries case, and it contains data that we were promoted from Allegro. Our data was pushed into the case and we're now ready to begin our review. With a tight turnaround, we are going to leverage the power of the free analytics that comes with Eclipse. To do that, we're going to go to the Analytics tab here on the left hand side. Analytics contains concept searching, clustering, categorization, email threading, as well as near duplicate detection. We're going to be leveraging analytics to prioritize our documents for review. We're going to start out with our clusters. We have clustered or conceptually grouped the data in our case to allow us to quickly see the types of concepts that our data contains. Each colored bucket here in the concept wheel that we're looking at contains a specific subject matter or concept, documents that were grouped together conceptually. The case team is able to visually inspect the concepts of this case, which enables them to identify concepts that are higher and lower in priorities. By clicking on any specific part of the bucket, the picture zooms in and the team can take a look at that specific bucket and see what it's all about. For example, we have some documents here about environmental energy, contract law, workers and laborers, as well as government and constitutional law. One of the first things we're going to do is approach documents in this football cluster. By selecting the cluster, or hovering above it, we can take a look at how many documents are contained within this concept. Once we select that specific piece of the pie, it executes a search, so we can go to our search results and take a look at our documents. This set of documents is 472 documents that are discussed in football. We can quickly take a look at the documents to make sure that they are indeed about football. And once we take a look at the documents and verify that they are discussed in football, we can decide to make a decision on it. The documents themselves, when reviewed, are discussing football. As you can see, the score, which is the similarity of the concepts, is pretty high, so we're certain that these documents are indeed discussing football. So one of the things we can do right away is go back to our concept wheel. Once we get back to this concept wheel, we can go ahead and select our tags. And now that we verify that the football league concept is a low priority, we'll go ahead and mask tag it low priority. Now that we have a document list that is low priority, we can go through the rest of our wheel here and review the documents that we feel are actually high priority versus low priority. This case is about hostile takeover and stock manipulation. So one of the things we know if we look at this concept wheel is that we have this specific set of data here discussing stock market, capital, investments, and financials. We know this specific subject is very hot, so we'll go ahead and select that subject and tag it high priority. The case team will go through the rest of this concept wheel to identify documents based on priority and tag them as such. One of the things we're going to do is go ahead and batch documents based on high priority, documents that are conceptually grouped together, and we're also going to be keeping the email threads together so that reviewers are taking a look at documents that are conceptually similar and part of the same conversations. To take a look at our batches that we've batched out, we'll go to the Batches tab here on the left-hand side in the Navigations pane. The Batches window tells us all the documents, all the batches that are in the system. And we have these documents batched by concepts, therefore we can see the stock market concept here is a high priority batch. We have some additional batches that are medium priority, as well as low priority batches at the bottom. To go ahead and check out a batch, a reviewer will go ahead and select a specific batch, get next available batch, select their review pass, and that batch will be assigned to them. This window here showcases the number of batch documents in a batch, who those batches are assigned to, as well as any review documents within that batch set. Now that we have a batch checked out, we'll go back to our Documents tab to take a look at our documents. Once reviewers start checking out batches, they can come into the Documents tab. In this tab, we have some views that they can select from. Administrators can give them access to the My Batch view, which will give them access to only documents that are batched out to them. Reviewers can start going through these documents by getting on edit mode and start tagging the documents themselves. On the document details page, we have the ability to have a native viewer leveraging the Stellan technology. An image viewer, if there's an image of that document, it will be here. If there's no image, we have the ability to TIFF on the fly here in the documents details. You will notice, as well as TIFFing on the fly, we have some terms highlighted that we've used as the keyword terms to be highlighted for the case. Once we have the document TIFFed on the fly, the image will be showcased in here. Reviewers will come in here to utilize the redactions if they need to apply any sort of redactions to the documents. Eclipse has the ability to produce multiple redactions on a document, burn those images when production comes. So the reviewers have the ability to color code their redactions based on the criteria. We also have a production viewer. If this document has been produced, it will be available here, including the Bates number and the production it belongs to. And of course, an extracted text view that shows the highlighted terms and searchable content. Further down here on the left-hand side, we have the relationship view. This view gives the reviewers the ability to take a look at documents, family member of documents, that they need to take a look at. For example, we have an email highlighted. This email, if it has any family members, it will be displayed here. If there's any duplicates, we'll be able to see the duplicates, near duplicates, and if there's a conversation of that email, it will be shown here. Here's a good example of an email that has a conversation. That email and the conversation, which includes attachments, will be displayed here. If there's any family members of that email, it will be shown here, and if that email has a near duplicate, we'll be able to see that as well. Any one of these windows is either very dynamic, so we can go ahead and expand it or collapse it. The document details page can be docked or undocked. For those reviewers that have multiple monitors, they can go ahead and undock this document details page and move it over to the second monitor, or just put it back where it was. At this point, for reviewers to start reviewing documents, they will just go through each document one at a time, tag it responsive, and save and go into the next document. One of the things you will notice here is that the coding form has been violated here. There's a confidentiality rule applied to this coding form. Let's go explain what that is. If we go to the case administration, Eclipse has the ability to apply coding rules to a coding form. What this basically means is that we can generate a logic by creating a coding form rule. Let's call this confidentiality. And what we're saying here is that if a document is tagged responsive, then the reviewer has to make a confidentiality call on that document. This coding rule can be applied just by following that simple logic. And that's the coding rule that we've looked at here in the review window. So let's go ahead and apply that rule again on another document. we have an email here. We'll go ahead and tag it responsive. If we decide to save it next, we'll have that coding rule violation. For us to save this document, we'll have to go ahead and make a confidentiality call, and we'll call this, let's assume this document is highly confidential. Now we can go ahead and save and go to the next document. Eclipse has a very easy built-in coding room logic that any technical or non-technical person can actually create in the interface. Now, as the review is in progress, the case team is now able to set up some workflow in place. One of the things that we're doing is leveraging the advanced search capabilities of Eclipse by creating some searches to identify documents that need imaging. Here we have a nightly Tiffin criteria, which looks at documents that are responsive. Or we can go ahead and start creating batches for second level review. Second level review will be looking at documents that, from the first level review of documents that reviewers are looking at, are either tagged responsive or further review. Eclipse's advanced search capabilities include content analyst searching, which includes concept searching, text searching, which leverages the DT search syntax and DT search technology, and metadata field searching, where conditions can be applied to certain fields or tags in the database, and conditions can be built based on those tags. As part of our imaging search, our nightly Tiffin search, Eclipse is fully integrated with eCapture, which is our processing application in the enterprise suite. Therefore, when documents are filtered into this search, Eclipse can go ahead and push those documents out to eCapture, or point those documents to eCapture so that eCapture can TIFF them for the review process. As the review is progressing, the case team is able to leverage the reporting functionality of Eclipse. One of the reports that the case team will be leveraging is to take a look at the progress of the review. This reviewer history detail report will give you the ability to specify a specific date range and take a look at the progress of the reviewers during that time. For example, here you see my progress starting on the October 8th of 2013. It looks like this reviewer had looked at 9 documents. That's how many views they've had, and 3 edits, meaning they've looked at 9 documents but have only coded 3 documents. Gives them edits per hour and how much time they've spent in the system each day. This can be looked at as a progress report or a productivity report for reviewers, and decision makers can take a look at these reports to see if reviewers are meeting the standards. Eclipse also has a list of other reports available here that reviewers can, or the case team can leverage. For example, the case data summary report gives the team information about all the custodians in the case, as well as a breakdown of how many documents each custodian has, the Bates ranges of those custodians, number of text files, natives, images, production documents, and total size. This report can also be leveraged as a billing report. Now at this point, the case team is making some progress to meet this SCC deadline that we have imposed. One of the things that we're going to be doing in this case is producing documents to the SCC. Therefore, the case team will be able to go ahead and leverage some of the production technology of Eclipse. Eclipse's production is fully integrated with eCapture. It's a multi-threaded distributed production platform that leverages the enterprise workers to produce those documents. When a production is kicked off in Eclipse, the numbering, endorsements, branding, and exporting of that production is automatically handled by the enterprise worker, which is at no cost to you. And along with the production, distributed production, Eclipse has the production shield functionality, which is a way to help reviewers from producing privileged content. Production shield essentially gives you the opportunity to identify documents that you do not want to produce. For example, in my example here, I have privileged documents that are not redacted, or I have documents that are tagged do not produce. Once I identify this to be my no do not produce criteria, the production process will actually validate our production before it actually gets produced. The validation process includes checking any document that actually violates the rule of the do not produce documents or the production shield rule, as well as telling you if there are broken families, invalid path to the files, as well as missing native images and text. Thank you for joining, and this will conclude our Eclipse session.